all live in a better submarine. Had sex with it at 14.
Oh,
Better submarine. We all live in a better submarine. Had it specially outfitted to fit Stephen Hawking. You guys like that one? Check that out. Yeah.
Oh, you're like a little rapper.
I'm a little rapper. That's exactly it. Yeah, I've had Yellow Submarine stuck in my head all day.
That really gets in there.
Yeah, we got a contract today though. So
congratulations, Brace.
Yes. Anchor Brewing Company. Well, we haven't voted on it, but the first craft beer contract with a union in the U.S. The company I own, Anchor Brewing Company, has signed it with the ILWU.
Are you so stoked?
I am extremely stoked. Yeah, I'm getting like if we ratify it, I'm getting like a $4 raise.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Congratulations. Long, hard fought win over here.
I know, almost exactly 2 years.
Jesus.
But whatever. Once first domino falls, it'll be just like in Southeast Asia. One domino falls, the next domino falls. Next thing you know, Khmer Rouge.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, I am so. I haven't seen you in so long.
It feels like it. Wait, no,
Yeah,
we did just hang out.
We did just hang out, yeah. But I haven't seen you with what I like to see you, which is with a spit screen covering your face in front of the microphone.
Yeah. Guys, hello. It's been a minute, it feels like, and I feel terrible about that. But to be honest, one, we really had no idea we were going to be doing this.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Yeah.
And two, it was the holidays. So we're trying to figure out like a better schedule, right?
Yeah, and once this whole Hanukkah business calms down, because it seems like Hanukkah starts right after Halloween now. It's crazy. There's like no time in between. Yeah, once the holidays are over and done with, I will be going nowhere. I'm still going pretty much nowhere.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything planned.
But our schedule will regularize. Look at that. Messed up, but good save. Regularize itself once these wretched months are over.
Yeah.
So I would straight up love to see Chasen Buttigieg's fucking dick. Yeah, I can't say.
He can't Instagram live it, so you probably never see it.
You can't?
No, you can't Instagram live that.
You can absolutely Instagram live that.
No.
My Instagram is Bees D's 68.
He seems like a man who has extreme brand loyalty. Like, he seems like someone who has a very strong opinion about whether or not he should take Uber or Lyft.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
When it's like, of all the things to care about, like,
yeah.
You fucking suck. By the way, don't have an opinion about Uber or Lyft.
Just take Lime scooters everywhere. That's what Liz does.
Who cares? I hate people that have opinions about these things.
Well, they think Lyft is better because it's like less. Uber, yeah. I gotta say.
Newsflash.
Uber
you know who's like a majority
fucking
investor in Lyft? Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel?
Yes.
Oh, must be. All right. So let me tell you, all you the motley fools out there, put your money in Lyft, because if Thiel's on the scent, that little hound dog, that little piggy could snuffle up a truffle anywhere. So yeah, Uber done, Lyft on the way up.
Remember when Lyft started and had the pink mustaches?
I remember I had a girlfriend at the time who got Lyft. She was an early adopter, and I was a heroin addict at the time. Very bad. I also started doing meth as well. And we got in a Lyft one time, and I was all fucked up. And at that time, I just had because I couldn't leave my shit in the house, I had 60 needles in my pocket. And it was like an army jacket. And the Lyft driver fist bumped me, and and I asked him, I was
they
why are you doing
that.
this? It was required, yeah. Also, you couldn't pay them; it was a suggested donation, but they could rate you if you didn't give them the right donation. That was so it's like a way around the law.
God, such
they could just rate you bad. Yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna. What I would do at the time actually is fucked up. I would take cabs and then just jump out. So I lived far
you
from
were
the market.
high.
Yeah, I was high.
I had a friend who was European who refused to take Lyft because he said he would never get in a car with a mustache.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, I'm not getting in the mustache car.
Typical European Turkphobia.
So offensive to me.
Yeah.
What if they had like trad lift? It was just the trad stash.
Are you talking about the Hitler one?
Oh,
What's the trad stash?
no, you know how all the trad boys have mustaches.
I don't know what they look like. They do?
I don't know. It's a thing.
Okay.
I think it's on its way out.
Yeah. I have a handlebar mustache, so Chasen Buttigieg can grab me by it while I suck his dick. You can bleep that part out.
Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Come in. Jeffrey Epstein.
Hello.
What?
I'm doing a goblin thing today. Hello, Liz.
I'm so happy to be back, Brace.
I know it is fantastic, fan-flippin-tastic to see you again, Liz.
We just did. Oh, hi, hello. I'm Liz.
I'm Brace. We are joined by producer, the youngest Chomsky, young Chomsky, who is, as we've learned recently, friends with Jeffrey Epstein. This Chomsky, however, is not.
No. And this is TrueAnon. Welcome. We're back.
Here to stay.
Feels like we've been out for a minute.
Yeah, I've been out in the wilderness.
Brace and I did our first Twitch stream, which. Because by the way, young Chomsky has been out of town. Boo.
Lame.
Which is why we haven't been able to record. So sorry, guys. We're not trying. We wanted to record, but we couldn't. But now we're going to record extra special stuff.
I gotta say, it does not help that our producer works at McKinsey and is sent to Southeast Asia, and then something called the French Connection, and it's weird. But
Yeah, it's all a little.
we don't know how to record.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
So-
we could barely figure out how to do Twitch.
It took me 3 days to figure out how to do the Twitch. But don't worry, we are not classic gamers. We played a game that I downloaded that I believe gave me a virus.
Yeah.
And
It was awful.
You had some slurs in it. Did not know those were going to happen. But we are going to play part 2 at some point. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
We did get called multiple times. We were called a slur. We were called boomers,
Yeah.
which I have to say, I'm not a boomer.
Liz is 53 years old, dude. That is straight Gen X territory.
I'm not a boomer. You're a boomer, so shut the fuck up. And also,
Classic.
sorry, I don't know shit about nerd shit 'cause I'm not a nerd, so shut the fuck up, nerd.
Yeah, I'm on your side, fellas.
Brace.
Not about the boomer stuff, but, gaming, etc.
Whatever.
I love
Yeah, heavy on the etc. Took you 3 days to figure this one out.
Did take
Genius.
me 3 days to figure that out, yeah.
All right. Back to the show. What are we talking about today? Oh, we have a lot of stuff to talk about because it's been a minute.
Yes, we actually, to be clear, let me set this up. We have a 2-parter episode. Episodes? Yeah.
With a Z.
With a Z. We are talking about, we're going to talk about this later. We got some other stuff to open up with. But we're going to be talking about one of the finest pieces of shit ever dumped out of the ass of God.
Jesus Christ.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yes, the Lady Ghislaine herself.
There are some questions a lot of you have about her, and we will answer them.
We'll allegedly answer them.
I will actually probably ask more questions than we answer, but we have some stuff that has been very underreported or non-reported, and we'd like to tell you about it.
Yeah, so we're going to get to that.
Mm-hmm.
Really quick, Brace, you just mentioned McKinsey. Have you been reading about the Mayor Pete stuff?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, I'm not joking when I say this, that Pete Buttigieg, I don't know if he's actually literally goes into to Langley and the CIA office and gets his paycheck from them, but he absolutely is a stringer for the fucking agency.
So I just want to say I've been saying this for a fucking year.
Yeah.
And people laugh at me, and still people laugh at me.
Keep laughing at her.
You know what, though? You're not going to be laughing when he's President Mayor Pete.
Yeah. But yeah, the first mayoral president. Yeah, no, he was so...
Not our first spook president,
He released
though.
his client list today, and believe me, fellas, I've released a couple of client lists,
my gosh.
too. and it's never a pretty day when you do that. And he worked for Loblaws.
Loblaws.
I did not know that was a real thing. Loblaws Logblog in the supermarket chain owned by Bob Loblaw.
You know what's so crazy though is that before he released the client list, there was all these little Canadians. Shout out to the Canadians who were, when they saw that he had been consulting for unnamed grocery, whatever. The little Canadian gumshoes pieced together. They said, "Oh, McKinsey, which scum of the earth, consulting firm." They obviously had their hands in bread price fixing.
Yes.
And they had already put it together. And then his campaign confirmed today that it was indeed Bob Loblaws.
Do you know how, so when Loblaws had to settle basically, they just offered every customer who'd ever bought bread there $25 gift card.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wait, can you explain what happened?
Yeah. So from what I gather from my sort of cursory research of this, because I am
because we're not fucking Canadian,
and I'm that I don't eat bread. I'm a zoodles kind of guy. Just fucking kidding. Eat a loaf a day. So they were basically adding an extra $1.50 into bread prices, and all sort of breaded products. Donuts, muffins, English muffins, breads, etc., and ripping off the consumers that way.
Yeah, it was basically what you call price fixing.
Yeah, which shouldn't be illegal.
Pretty sure it's quasi legal.
Yeah,
AKA not really legal.
Yeah.
Infinite loopholes. That's why you hire a firm like McKinsey to find those loopholes to then squeeze profits and screw everyday people.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't care what Pete Buttigieg... Actually, I do care what Pete Buttigieg did at McKinsey because it's funny.
Can we just call him Mayor Pete? I just really hate his last name.
He should be arrested for being in the Navy.
Yeah, there's naval intelligence.
Any part.
What's funny is that, okay, so I said something about this on Twitter, though, is that, clearly they're not worried about this part coming out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, let's look at the other clients. There was what?
Department of Defense?
Yeah, the Department of Defense. And he had listed that some of his work was consulting in Iraq and Afghanistan on entrepreneurial activities.
So the main entrepreneurial activity in Afghanistan, and I'm not kidding here, is opium farming.
Yeah.
And as a former member of that trade on the client end, I gotta say it is lucrative. I mean, it is actually one of the main cash crops there, and they do not. They
burn down villages in order to
continue it.
Yeah.
Ironically, now that the Taliban are within the year going to be back in control of Afghanistan, that will probably change because when the Taliban was in charge of it before, the opium farming there was forbidden and people actually didn't do it. Now, there's the infamous pictures of troops walking through the poppy fields. Oh my God, straight up almost joined Special Forces Green Berets when I saw those pictures.
So a lot of questions about Mayor Pete, but what's even better about that is that this is all coming out of basically the war of the consultants between him and Elizabeth Warren, which is hilarious.
Exactly. Yeah. No. This is
they're dueling.
Yeah. Well, third place, someone's got to get bronze. So yeah, Warren and Buttigieg are going after each other on this kind of shit. And now Buttigieg is hitting back with, or his team is hitting back with, well, Warren actually hired McKinsey.
Yeah. Well, did she?
Yeah, when she was at Harvard.
Spent
$1 million telling them to do a bunch of bullshit.
To screw a bunch of people.
I don't fucking care. If you go to Harvard, you're as bad as Warren is.
Yeah, it's funny because not a lot of attention has been paid to Elizabeth Warren's consulting, and even we were just talking about this before we started recording that everyone's just oh, she just did bankruptcy law, and somehow that sounds really just man, it's just boring. It's not a really interesting part of the law, and it has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah,
it's non-ideological. Blah 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 blah. And it's let's just pause that for a second because
pause.
What is the crux of bankruptcy law? It is to protect corporate, particularly as it was coming into its is being fully realized, the extent of its power in the mid to late 80s during the Reagan administration with basically a scourge of class action suits. Well, no, it was there to protect massive corporations and their shareholders from losing out on these suits and customer complaints.
Yeah.
So it's literally her
It's a way to get
entire
out of it.
academic career is in protecting corporations from liability.
Yeah.
And so when you see this list of clients that she's put out, I mean, it's like ghoulish. I mean, I knew about it. I don't know how many people knew about her work with Dow Chemical, which was, of course, about...
we call them the National Patriotic Bourgeoisie.
Yeah, asbestos cases of silicone implants
Whoa,
with women
hold
that
up.
needed to be...
Hold up.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
No. I mean, it's really awful stuff. Like, just to get serious for a minute,
Yeah.
it's like really awful stuff. And she was consulting these companies on protecting them against these class action suits where women were,
Harmed.
absolutely.
You were talking earlier about an IUD.
Oh my God. So that was another thing that came out. I hadn't heard about this. And then I started looking into it. I mean, I hadn't heard about her work with this. But this is with the infamous, at least if you're a woman, but I'm sure a lot of our young male listeners have no fucking clue about this. The Dalcon Shield, which was introduced in the late 70s, is this company, A.H. Robbins, I think is the name. I have to look. Robbins, something like that. And the Dalcon Shield was an IUD, which is, an intrauterine device, which is a type of birth control.
I got one of those.
And basically, it was, oh my God, it was so awful. I mean, it was causing, almost immediately upon insertion, causing massive amounts of cases of pelvic inflammatory disorder,
Sepsis,
death, sterilization, infertility. I mean, it was a fucking health crisis. I mean, it was a massive health crisis just in the United States. And when the company, and it was like, it was only introduced for like 2 or 3 years, I believe, and it was pulled off the shelves, proverbially speaking. And when the company found out that, it was going to lose all this money because it couldn't be in the United States.
Yeah.
It started as quickly as it could before it had to file for bankruptcy. As quickly as it could, it started shipping this stuff off and setting up these contracts with third world countries. So they sent out, hundreds of thousands of these things, if not millions, to women all throughout Africa, India, the Philippines, Malaysia, Eastern Asia, Australia. And there are, the numbers of women that, died, that were sterilized, they sent these devices not sterilized. They were not clean.
So they would just put them in the box and ship them out to Manila.
And they instructed doctors to dip them in bleach before inserting them into women.
Ooh, what does she work for the fucking Gates Foundation?
So, yeah, it's a really horrific case. And, I'm really confused that we don't really know what her work was with this company. It says that she says that she consulted with a quote international women's group, which was tasked with informing victims outside of the United States of their right to compensation. Now, to me, I'm not a dumb person, and I don't think any of our listeners are dumb people, but that sounds like a whole lot of spin because I know what quote unquote international women's organizations are like, what NGOs are like, and what nonprofits are like, particularly around birth control and the third world. And I also know how much lawyers love to inform victims of their right to compensation.
Yeah.
So, I'm a little confused and, not to pull this card, but as a woman, if Miss Elizabeth Warren is going to pull that card, I'm going to pull it back and shove it right in her fucking face. As a woman, why no journalists have any questions for the Warren campaign about her fucking work for some of the worst companies that have done, unspeakable harm, not just to women, but to people throughout the globe.
I mean, this is practically femicide.
Yeah,
Literally,
it is.
yeah.
It is. It really is. I really don't understand the kind of like journalistic blackout here. I mean, I do understand it because I'm not fucking stupid.
The
but-
focus of the story has been she was only making $60,000 a year
Okay,
consulting.
first of all-
women are underpaid.
Yeah, I got to give props to the Warren Comms team because
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
Yeah, genius.
First of all, okay, no, that was her, just from her consulting. She took in $2 million in just consulting,
Yeah.
right? She had a salary during that time. She doesn't make $60,000 a year, you fucking dorks. She was the third highest paid, I believe, third highest paid professor at fucking Harvard.
She has a net worth right now of $12 million. You don't get that, let's say, racking up the dime, counting pennies.
Yeah, I mean, I think that people seem to think that she is just like hard scrabble, blah, 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 just trying to do the good thing in a corrupt system. It's like, but your good thing that you did was protect massive corporations from liability at the expense of working people who had been harmed and or killed.
Yeah.
Like, you're literally a shit person.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not going to say that because I don't know what's in her heart and I don't even care. You're a careerist and your entire career speaks for that. It's why you were able to be a Republican, but apolitical, then a Democrat, then God knows what now.
What she is what she is going to fucking prison when Bernie Sanders becomes president of the United States of America.
Yeah, I just don't. Whatever. This is not what our podcast is about. But Bernie people, sit back, relax, let them fight, let them have at it. Mm-hmm. Mayor Pete and Elizabeth Warren have way more in common with each other than Elizabeth Warren has in common with Bernie Sanders, and just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about the law, Liz.
The law?
The Floridian law.
Oh, gosh.
Yes.
Okay, so now we're getting into news.
Yeah.
Newsflash.
I don't. That was not good. No, that's the
worse.
goblins coming back. There we go. It's like
What is that?
That's my Danny Trejo impression.
Do you know that he has taco places in LA?
I do.
That guy. They're kind of like a food court situation.
Okay, well, that's a good situation.
Okay, so a little bit of news, Brace.
Yeah, so we're heading down to Florida, baby. So what is going on down there?
So the Palm Beach Post, which is the paper down in Palm Beach,
Yeah.
had been filing a lawsuit trying to get the grand jury indictment unsealed.
Yes.
Or the transcripts, I believe, unsealed. So this is from the 2008 case
Yeah.
in Florida. And so they were trying to get the basically the transcript of the grand jury testimony and
Yeah.
and
I think that was in 2006 that the testimony
okay,
happened.
excuse me. Sorry guys.
That's all right. I mean, the whole case took 2 years, so.
But they were trying to get it unsealed, and a Florida court ruled that they weren't going to do it.
Yeah. So according to the Palm Beach Post, these documents would reveal why jurors ignored the findings of a damning, can't believe they swear in this thing, Palm Beach police investigation and charged the politically connected financier only with solicitation of prostitution, even though Epstein's accusers were young teens. So they're saying that Floridian law, it's a special kind of law. It actually prevents grand jury testimony from being revealed. It's secret stuff.
I think that's just across the board. Yeah, I think so. It's funny. The governor ordered that the
DeSantis.
prosecution. look into this case. Yeah, Ron DeSantis.
I'm sure
remember?
that he has. Yeah, he really gives a fuck.
Yeah, I mean, all these people are just saving face.
Yeah.
And he also said that he wants the transcript, but he hasn't said like what. I don't know. I wonder if that's like a Bill Barr situation of I want to see the tapes.
This
too.
is all just a smokescreen. Nobody wants to see it.
But yeah, so this is what the judge said. The public has no legal right to learn what happened when a grand jury allowed Jeffrey Epstein to escape child molestation charges in connection with allegations that he sexually abused dozens of teens at his Palm Beach mansion.
Yeah, so here's, we knew this already, but it says the paper's investigation revealed that while more than a dozen girls told police that they had been molested by Epstein, only a 14-year-old girl was called to testify before the grand jury. So of the, I think it was about 70 victims that they identified, about 50 the police interviewed, a single one was called up in front of the grand jury. Further, those familiar with the closed-door hearing said Christier's lead prosecutor, that's the prosecution, undermined the girl's credibility by quizzing her about her MySpace pages in which she mentioned drinking and hanging out with boys, sources said. She had told police a naked Epstein had fondled her during a quote-unquote massage at his Palm Beach mansion.
Right.
So they don't want this to get out because they're going to realize that this jury...
This whole thing was
total farce.
Yeah.
Which we know, like, it's this isn't like we're going to find out that this was bullshit. Like, we know it was bullshit.
Yeah.
The whole Florida
I guess
fucking debacle was...
The thing that I didn't realize was that it was like a shit case that they presented from the beginning.
Yeah, they did that on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
And it makes way more sense than just like the hand of, the AG like coming in and
Exactly.
fucking things out.
Yeah, this
But-
wasn't just like Acosta.
Right.
This was all of them in on this.
Yeah. So that's really, that's not good. That's really upsetting to hear.
Yeah, there's nothing preventing you, dear listener, from going and getting those papers yourself, except some frail old men who would crumble at your very touch.
Well, speaking of frail old men.
Don't do this to me. No.
There's a new dating app.
I know.
You
Listen,
like that?
me and Marsha, one of the genetically perfect women that I'm breeding with right now, did meet on a dating app that showed that we both have very low, if we breed...
You both have low T.
Well, first of all, we'll have a low T child, but that child will not be lactose intolerant. We will break the cycle that my people and Marsha's people, Marsha Steinbaum's people, have suffered for 4,000 years, unable to eat dairy without getting a stomach ache or taking lacto. But yeah, no, there's a dating app out, right?
Yeah, so there's lots of dating apps out, but this one is quite peculiar.
And none of our listeners could qualify for it.
Well, not just because of how strange it is, but also because it is by, or one of the men behind it is a man named George Church, who has quite the connection with Mr. Epstein.
Yeah. Yeah, he certainly does. So, you know how Epstein funded like every fucking scientist in America who...
all the crazy ones.
I mean, I'd say I was being hyperbolic there because I dislike science.
Same.
I'm a little Senkoist. But yeah, so this guy, George Church, who is at Harvard Medical School, a geneticist, as that might surprise you to learn.
Yeah, evolutionary biologist, geneticist, cream of the crop.
Yes.
Big brain boys.
A cringe field.
Yes.
He created a dating app that would match people who had like similar DNA. And it basically is like, if you two people fuck, like you should only mate with people that when you have a kid together, that kid won't have like small Dickinson's disease, which I do not suffer from.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm a carrier. But yeah, it's about basically like genetic dating, which should creep you out. Like if you feel uncomfortable hearing this, you're right.
Yeah, it's basically it's like a soft eugenics.
Yeah, and
Maybe not a soft one. Maybe it's a hard one.
Yeah, well,
it's very
let's
Gattaca.
stay away from the soft, hard stuff. Yeah, very Gattaca.
Maybe
Which
it's called like eugenly.
That'd be so great.
The little like whoop.
Yeah, or just UGNX.
Yeah.
This is so he got money from Epstein, of course, and was basically like 90% of the rest of these scientists was like, well, sometimes bad people inadvertently do good things. Him giving me money was good.
He said that he had nerd tunnel vision when it came to Epstein.
So the light at the end of that nerd tunnel is an anime girl with her breasts out.
He is super creepy. Okay, so before we get into him, let's talk a little bit about this app. So, it basically, so I don't totally understand it. You would kind of fill out your genetic profile.
I believe so. You'd probably send a sample.
Oh, of course.
I mean,
they
I
would have to
assume.
map your genome.
Exactly.
And then they basically match you.
Yeah.
Or no, they don't match you to people because he said that would be too creepy.
Yeah.
What they do is tell you if the person that you like is a bad genetic match.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see this going down a weird racial route very
Yeah.
easily. In fact, any route I see this taking is a
genetics in general
weird one.
is a very problematic field.
Here's the thing. If you're really into genetics, you're like halfway to being a Nazi, whether you know it or not.
No, seriously.
And the dating app thing, I don't like it. Here's the other thing that's not reported any of this because reporters can't say this kind of stuff. But I can tell you with almost 100% alleged certainty that when you send these people your genetic samples, they are taking them and using them for stuff. Like that is
For testing and
yeah.
stuff?
Like I'm sorry, these
It's also
scientists
going straight into a cop database.
Yeah, that
Just
too.
FYI.
But here's the thing: is like these geneticists are not interested in having you mate with somebody. These guys hate sex. Actually, that's not true. They're obsessed with sex. But these guys like hate you having sex. Let me put it that way. What they are interested in is basically taking your genetic material and experimenting on it. So they're not doing this dating app because they want to do a startup or whatever. They're doing it to steal your very essence. So yeah, I mean, that is absolutely true. But yeah, it seems to be, you'd have to be really horny to use this. I'm sorry. This guy is.
Yeah, he says, imagine Gattaca meets Romeo and Juliet with gene-crossed lovers who want to be together despite their genetic incompatibility.
And then one kills themselves at the end.
Yeah, that way you never have to have the heart-rending problem of saying, here are two people who are in love, and they learn they're incompatible, and then they split up. Everybody knows they split up because they're both carriers. That's unnecessary emotional harm and stigmatization.
I'm sorry, what?
What the fuck is he talking about?
Are you talking about being a redhead?
The thing is, I mean, first of all, when does this conversation happen?
When I'm like, darling, who's that fucking chick I like? Cruz. She's
Penelope Cruz?
Yeah, Penelope Cruz. I'm like, Penelope, I want to, we have been smashing for fucking months now. I know you think that I'm the hottest man who's ever lived. But before we smash for good. Yeah, for instance. Well, I'm drawing from memory here, so it's taking me a sec. And I was like, oh, wait, but my grandfather had Alzheimer's, and it looks like your grandmother had Alzheimer's. I think that our kid might get Alzheimer's, so I'm going to start dating Mila Kunis. That's like, is that what this, is that the situation he's imagining?
Yeah, I don't know
here?
what, this is just
I don't know
ridiculous.
women's genetics.
No. And I don't think you should, this is a very...
Don't find it out. Leave a little mystery there. If your partner your kid's going to have fucked up Alzheimer's, fucking let it. I don't know. That's just the way life goes. Do not use this app.
Yeah. So this is, George Church is highly involved in all of the life extension research as well.
Yeah, he's a transhumanist, right?
Yeah, he's a transhumanist. That's one of the one of the genes they're trying to manipulate is basically aging. That's how they think they can do it. And he said before, it's like, imagine if you look and feel like a 23-year-old, but you have the brain of a 130-year-old. And it's like, well.
Damn. So, old? Fuck.
That's like in The Irishman, basically. You'll just have that,
Haven't seen it yet.
It's great.
Haven't had a 4-hour block out.
Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah,
I'll cook you some lasagna and we can watch it.
absolutely. I'm lactose intolerant. Don't
Oh,
really want
right.
to say. Feel like it's kind of A+ for you to keep saying that kind of stuff to me, Liz. Maybe you could not kind of say that kind of stuff.
I'm gonna Gattaca your existence out of here. So
I'm trying to end every sentence with a question, just like those kind of.
no, but seriously, it's what's crazy is it's not just basically like eliminating genetic carriers
Yeah.
in these kind of like mating tables or whatever they want to figure out, which by the way is creepy enough in general. Like
Yeah.
we're already getting into some really, really
Not liking
just
it.
dystopia, scary shit.
I have the opposite of a boner right now. I'll tell you
yeah,
that.
yeah, it's all the way inside.
That's not what the opposite is. It's a spiritual thing. Still technically hard.
But no, but it gets into actually gene augmentation.
Yeah.
And this is where the
He's
really
ve-
scary, and this is, what they're doing in, I mean, there's a lot of reports that this is what they're doing in China, the CRISPR initiatives and that technology, the quote unquote designer babies that you hear about that maybe that's a little bit more sensational than what it actually is. I don't know. It's hard to say. You never really know what is actually coming out of China or not.
Yeah.
But just it's safe. You should know that they're pouring almost all of their like university money into genetic research.
Yeah, like all that stupid money that the universities have that like you don't have to pay for your healthcare is literally going to making big people's or rich people's dicks bigger and their babies hotter. Like that's actually literally what they're
Yeah,
doing.
this says at meetings, some involving groups of quote transhumanists interested in next steps for human evolution. George Church likes to show a slide on which he lists naturally occurring variants of around 10 genes that, when people are born with them, confer extraordinary qualities or resistance to disease. One makes your bones so hard they'll break a surgical drill.
I gotta say,
So he's talking about like X-Men.
he is. Is that a gene that people have now?
Yes, it's like basically like turning genes that we all have on.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, so we can become X-Men.
I don't want
I
to
don't
be an
like
X-Men.
this. No, I
They're
don't like
literally
any
just
of
gonna
this.
make me do a hard. If I become an X-Men, I guarantee you that my boss will just give me a harder job for the same amount of money.
By the way, like anyone listening to this is like, oh, that's kind of cool. I don't know, it sounds okay. First of all, they're not talking about you.
Yeah.
Like poor Joe Schmo. You're not becoming X-Men.
You're not gonna be a better pipe fitter.
You know who's becoming X-Men? Fucking Chase and Buttigieg. Mm-hmm. Mayor Pete will be X-Men, and that's fucking terrifying.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Exactly. It's all these people, pedophiles, pedophile X-Men.
Absolutely.
That's what we're looking at.
Here's the only gene that is turned on for them right now. It's the pedophile gene. Actually, is it nature
That
or
is-
nurture? I don't even want to.
We're not
think
even
about
getting
that.
into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. This
I'm
is in a
carrier.
freshman dorm room.
Yeah.
It's like those signs that say ped Xing.
Yes. So here's the thing. I think. Are you familiar with the church committee, Liz? I feel like there should perhaps be another church committee.
Yeah.
Me, the boys, and a high-powered automatic rifle.
Yeah.
Plus Mr. Church
That's
himself.
just a committee straight against a wall.
A little troika, perhaps. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. There needs to be a fucking reckoning with these nerds. Lab
Nerds
assistants of the world.
I always say this, but nerds, I don't know why, but they all think they can, we got to take back this great world from the nerds.
Oh my God. They run it.
They do. They make all the movies. They make all these crazy science experiments. And it's like, bring back bullying.
My coworkers and I make like well, not anymore, but until today, we made $16.50 a fucking hour, and this dude has millions of dollars to literally just make. I'm trying to make a bone that can break a drill. Shut the fuck up, dude! I'm literally trying to pay rent. Give me the money.
Yeah, give me the money.
Give me no. Don't give Liz the money. She'll just spend it on perfumes, the incense. etc.
Women be shopping.
Women. Oh my God. Yeah. So speaking of shopping, I believe I have stumbled upon a picture that everyone has seen by the time this aired of Jeffrey Epstein, friend of the show Harvey Weinstein, and former co-host Ghislaine Maxwell at Princess Beatrice's 18th birthday. And they are, Liz, can you describe them to me?
So they are on some sort of veranda.
Yes, that's what I was going to say, veranda. They are on a veranda. Absolutely on a veranda.
At a English, I'm assuming English countryside manch. And they are becostumed.
Yes.
Mr. Harvey Weinstein is in a white tux. Well, black tux, but with, in whites.
Yes. This is
Ghislaine looks awful.
What? I'm sorry.
I mean, this woman, first of all, she did not get the aging gene turned on because she is just melting into her.
Her tits are slumping.
Yeah, they're shrugging. They're saying,
Yeah,
ugh,
I'm done.
They don't
want
to be
body.
there.
No. They're like, oh, I'm ready for Princess Beatrice's 19th birthday.
Yeah. She's in some sort of sad, sheer paisley blouse with some kind of camisole underneath.
She looks like
it's fucking 2004.
She looks like she's working in an Appalachian fucking candle shop. No disrespect to my Appalachian homies
Yeah,
out
it's
there.
quite unfortunate. And then she's wearing some kind of necklace that she bought at some, tawdry gift shop at some seaside resort.
Yeah.
Some kind of shell
Morro
on it.
Bay.
Yeah, exactly. Just disgusting. And she's got a tacky gold mask and some red ostrich plumes. Smiling, grinning like a fucking jack-o'-lantern.
I'll tell you what, like a fucking pig.
And Jeffrey, my man Jeff.
Excuse me. Address him by his rank.
He is that a Marine, a naval uniform or Marines?
I got that I'm in the service. My friend Chris, who is a Marine, well, he's an ex-Marine, texted me the day this came out. Is like, was Jeffrey Epstein in the Navy SEALs?
So it is a Navy SEAL.
He's saying I believe it's a Navy SEALs uniform.
Okay, so it's a white. We're gonna
It's
say
dress uniform.
Yeah, white Navy SEAL dress uniform with many
ribbons.
Many ribbons.
He's both got ribbons and he's actually wearing medals in the Soviet style. Do you know that? You know how those like American or like Western army people wear like they have those bars with the little colors on them that denote their medals. The Soviets, baller, would just wear the actual medal. So that's why you see those pictures of people with like 50 medals across their chest. Yeah. Mr. Epstein is imitating our forefathers there.
Interesting.
Yes. Could be a sign.
I gotta say that Jeff's posture is pretty good right here. I mean,
he looks classic.
Classic Jeff.
So Harvey Weinstein's belly is going the way of Ghislaine. It might as well be Ghislaine Maxwell's third tit. It is sinking so low. Harvey Weinstein is dressed like an Eton graduate.
Yeah, Eton.
Yeah, he looks like he's been eating a lot.
Yeah. And strangely enough, he actually, I think, he looks a bit quite smaller here than he does now.
Yeah. Well, he's doing the whole put on I'm frail bullshit because he's on trial. That's what they always. That's why he's walking around with a cane and shit.
Yeah, so it's quite a strange photo. No one had seen these. This is the quote from The Sun, who leaked the photos.
Which, by the way, not a regular reader of The Sun. I just want people to know that. Not a fan.
The evil trio are seen smiling in an astonishing image taken at Windsor Castle. I don't think this is Windsor Castle, actually. It says Windsor Castle, but I'm not sure.
Sun, not exactly the most reliable source.
And then there's a following photo of Andrew, Fergie, Beatrice, and is that Eugenie?
That would be Eugenie. I gotta say, these bitches look fucked up.
Yeah, not great genes.
What the fuck? These chicks need CRISPR more than... I'll tell you what. Look at a picture of Prince Andrew's children.
It's a lot of jaw.
A lot of jaw. They're big. They have... You know how, like, chicks have cheekbones? I guess guys do, too. But all chicks have cheekbones? Liz showing me hers right now. These chicks have just, like, 8 more bones in that part of their face.
Every British person, it's because from all of the kind of like incest, they just grow more bones.
Oh, so okay, this is so we are actually watching eugenics and Eugenies. in action. And I gotta say, I want to bring this up again. That I forget which one of these royal thoughts was going to start a podcast
Eugenie.
about human trafficking.
It was Eugenie.
Well, honey, you missed your first shot at a big interview right there and then.
Yeah. It's sort of like Andrew's neck grew into their chin.
Yeah.
And that's what he passed on to them.
What is with these naval men?
I don't know. So
Andrew,
yeah,
Epstein.
she's all dressed in, they're dressed in some like Marie Antoinette-esque, outfit
happened to her.
dresses. They say it was Victorian theme, but I gotta say, what's interesting?
Yeah.
Just for some conspiracy nuts.
No age of consent in the Victorian times?
Well, not that.
Oh.
But I will say that the three, back to this Weinstein, Epstein, and Ghislaine photo, is that we've got a naval officer,
Yep.
a man in a tuxedo, and a woman in a mask.
The officer, the gentleman, and the tart.
Now, what three characters does that remind you of? Is there a film where those three characters appear?
Captain Corelli's mandolin?
Perhaps you need to open up your eyes, Brace?
Oh my lord, Liz. So, my eyes have been wide shut for quite a while because I woke up at 5:30 a.m. to work at the factory today. But, so you're saying that Epstein could be possibly alluding to the naval officer that, much like myself, fucks Nicole Kidman in the horrible nightmare fantasy of Tom Cruise and Eyes Wide Shut. That Weinstein himself is either, do you think he's Tom Cruise or do you think he's perhaps one of the other higher ups? And Ghislaine Maxwell is one of the bemasked maidens or men's in that film.
I'm not going to allege any of that, but I will say that it is quite peculiar.
A little cosmic handshake right there with us.
Yeah. So I also have to say that these photos look fucking weird to me.
I see. This is where we're about to have a little on-air argues.
I just think the lighting
Dalton.
looks crazy.
So what Liz is referring to here is the ostrich feather.
It's not just that; it's the lighting is off.
But people always say about photo. Here's the thing: these photos were taken by a professional photographer who, no doubt, who no doubt fucked with like the gamma and shit to make people
Sorry,
look.
fucked with what?
The gamma.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about. To fuck with all that stuff and like retouch these photos on purpose, not for any nefarious reason, but to like, make people look less shitty. I mean, the light. So I was a little perturbed by the light above Ghislaine's head myself when this photo first emerged. But that's just because ostrich feathers are doing some weird shit with the sun.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I'm just saying that the first time I saw them, I thought that they looked a little strange. Now, it seems like the second one, the one with Fergie and Andrew, that's clearly like, there's probably some professional lighting happening there. It's set up. There's a little bit of a set, et cetera, et cetera. It's posed. But the one with Harvey and Jeffrey and Ghislaine feels more like party happening.
Yeah.
We were just talking. Oops, you caught me.
Yeah.
Kind of situation. And the lighting looks strange. That's
Yeah.
all I'm going to say.
Well, so here's the only reason I can think of why they would put together a fake photo. Because in the future, they could say that because there's one fake photo, that perhaps those really aren't Prince Andrew's fingers tightly clutching the waist of 17-year-old Virginia Jeffrey.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that is a distinct possibility.
So, I don't know. Let's keep our eyes wide open on these photos.
Absolutely.
But that's not the only Ghislaine news. Brace.
No.
So this is the big story.
Ghislaine's coming out. I don't have anything clever to say. Uh-oh.
I don't like it.
The fingers in the photo
Okay,
were
just stop,
fake.
stop,
Okay.
stop. So, Ghislaine Maxwell's, quote, set to come out of hiding and speak to the FBI about her connection to pedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes.
Ding, 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 siren, siren, siren,
There has
siren.
been a rash of articles about Ghislaine's imminent return to public life.
Yes. She is said to be ready to speak out and defend herself and Prince Andrew.
Yeah, in fact, she was saying that photo, there might be something a little funny about it. That photo, of course, I'm referring to is the photo of Prince Andrew and 17-year-old Virginia Jeffrey, who he had sex with 3 times.
So a source told The Sun, Ghislaine is preparing to speak, whether by talking to the FBI or giving a statement to the media. She has to defend herself. She has no option. She will have to address this guilt by association. Now, hey, newsflash, memo to source of The Sun, friend of Ghislaine. I got some media Ghislaine should talk to.
Yeah.
Talk to us. We'll talk to you.
Yeah, Ghislaine. Ghislaine, baby. If you're listening, and I know you are, I will talk to you with such fervor and passion that you will literally never breathe another breath. But yeah, so Ghislaine's people are pretty much like putting forward that she might come out, right?
Yeah, that's what it seems like. I can only hope and pray that she does a kind of 60-minute style
God,
Andrew interview.
please.
But she seems, unfortunately, she's much more calculating and clever and
She knows what she's
charming
doing. Absolutely.
than, sweaty Prince Andrew. So I don't think that if she were to do any kind of sit down or any kind of actual media appearance, that we would get any kind of uncharacteristic flubs or mistakes out of Miss Ghislaine Maxwell.
No, absolutely. And this thing will be entirely managed.
Yeah. So it's pretty crazy. It also seems to be the case, or as the tabloids are saying, that Ghislaine and Andrew have been in constant contact, which, as we've mentioned on the pod before, we have also heard from our own sources,
Yeah.
my sauces, that Ghislaine has been in contact with the authorities.
I mean, that is pretty much like universally said, I think, at this point, that like Ghislaine is definitely in contact with the FBI, at least. And that they know where she is at all times.
Yes. So that brings us to the topic at hand. And we have to apologize because we've gone a bit long when we were ranting about all these other things that we wanted to talk about. But we are talking about Miss Ghislaine Maxwell. And all of this is begging question, Brace.
Yeah.
Who is Ghislaine Maxwell?
So funny you asked. Ghislaine Noel Marion Maxwell. Well, she is a complicated figure, to say the least. So she was born on December 25th of 1961 in a little place called, I'm going to need some help with this, Liz. You're a girl, so you can speak French naturally. What is this next one?
Maison Lafitte?
Oh, that was so good. My God. Maison Lafitte, France, which is a small town in France known for its horse track. Now, I noted that this is a possible symbolistic connection relating to her friendship with Chelsea Clinton, a woman who looks like a horse.
I don't know about that.
She is the 9th and youngest child of Robert Maxwell.
Yeah, so there's a lot of siblings. We've talked about a lot of them already on the podcast.
Yeah, a lot of them are losers, which much respect. Some of them are very successful.
Yeah, I feel like most large families with like very large patriarchs.
Literally insanely large
Oh,
patriarch
I mean
in
that
this
like
case.
literally.
Gigantically fat man.
Yeah.
Robert Maxwell.
That the like fail son quota is always kind of like out of balance.
Absolutely.
Like
yeah.
when you look at like the Trump family,
Yep.
I mean, incredible. Also, Huckabees.
Yes, the
original
Huckabees have their
large
own large.
adult sons.
Yeah, wow. Well, so this we've got a good amount of daughters here actually have been more successful. But she is the 9th and
That's
youngest.
right.
And Robert Maxwell, we are going to do a quite a bit on Robert Maxwell in another episode. But for now, let it be known that Robert Maxwell was a refugee from what later became Czechoslovakia, or what was Czechoslovakia, what later became the Czech Republic. It is now strangely named Czechia.
That's a terrible name.
Horrible. No one's going to call you that, guys. He moved to Britain, where he joined the British Army, I think at age 18. World War II, fought in World War II, possibly executed a German officer who was unarmed, which much respect. And then after the war, made a bunch of money getting translated German scientific materials into English, selling those, eventually grew a publishing empire, the Mirror Group, owned the New York Daily News, etc., but was also doing a little bit of, you know how hard it is in media. He was doing like most of you media types do. He was working for the Israeli government. So he was spying for Israel. Not just Israel. He was spying for a lot of people, by the way.
Yeah, he was working all angles.
And
hitting it from all sides.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing with Robert Maxwell is he served very well his purpose, or one of his purposes, as the sort of Israeli conduit to the Eastern Bloc. So he was fucking smoking doinks with Marcus Wolf. He was hanging out with Gorbachev, doing a little boogity blow. And he was actually even rumored to be involved in the 1991 unfortunately failed coup in the former Soviet Union, where the communists tried to get back. Well, hardliner communists tried to get back. None of them were really, at that point, Maoism was. Anyways, so Maoism was really supplanted it. So he was looting the treasury from
his company.
His companies.
Yeah, so he was actually and this is important when we get into talking about Ghislaine.
Yeah.
Is that but he was being investigated.
Yeah.
At the moment of his untimely demise.
Yes.
For looting the pensions of his own company, correct?
To the tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars. Possibly tried to extort Israel, who allegedly possibly threw him off a boat into the ocean to die.
Yeah, no. So he fell off his yacht.
The Lady Ghislaine.
Yeah. And we should mention that, or we have mentioned, but again, we're dealing with a very large man.
Huge man. Center of gravity.
Quite low.
Yeah.
So to tip it over, much easier.
Yeah.
Because you're pushing from a higher, right? So the angle that you'd have to kind of hit it at to lift that low center of gravity over the edge of,
the bow.
Exactly, the bow of a
vessel.
Sea vessel.
I don't know how large the yacht was. Could be a ship, could be a boat.
Well, we've got photos. But so that's going to be a much easier kind of tipping point, if you will, than kind of, say, a man carrying such weight at a low center.
Yes.
Falling out of his own volition.
You seem to have thought about this.
I have. I have graphs I could show you.
Yeah, okay.
Diagrams.
So we'll get to more on that later, Ghislaine's reaction to that. But, let's go back to Ghislaine's early life.
Yes.
So she spent most of her time at a place called, because her father, at this point, the point she was born, was a very rich man. And he owned a little, what are those things that British people always live in? Mansion. He owned a mansion called Headington Hill.
Terrible name.
In it was in Oxford. 53-room mansion, which she would be in a 50-something room mansion a lot later in her life as well. She went to Headington School, which was a private all-girls school, where I'm sure she was traumatized in various ways, like all of them are in Britain. And then she went to Marlborough College, which is actually a high school, another private high school, and then Balliol College at the University of Oxford. Guess who else went to the University of Oxford? I love tons of pieces of shit, but Chelsea Clinton is who I'm talking about here.
Oh, yes, of course.
Her father put her in charge of a football team in Oxford.
Just as one does.
Yeah, Oxford United. Girls can game, too.
We should say that it's widely reported that Ghislaine was Robert's favorite daughter.
Absolutely. He'd bounce her on her knee all the time, right?
They were very, very close in ways. And also the oldest daughter, the oldest Maxwell daughter, and I'm forgetting her name. She never comes up because she's changed her name and was living basically under a different identity. I mean, it's her husband's name, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But she is nothing to do with the family.
Yeah.
But she and the sons and everyone else had very contentious relationships with Robert.
Yes.
That there's rumors of violence. you know how these men are.
Screaming. He horribly mistreated his wife.
Yes. There's definitely rumors about domestic violence situations.
Absolutely.
Beatings. The way that he would, like, school his kids and discipline his kids, very extreme. But but what I mean is that the eldest daughter is quite estranged, and from the entire family. And Ghislaine was the youngest,
Yep.
and the prized possession of Mr. Robert Maxwell.
Yeah. We have a quote here. In his biography of the tycoon, Maxwell, The Rise and Fall of Robert Maxwell and His Empire, Greenslade recalls one evening in particular when he was sitting in his office with Maxwell and the daredevil teenager wandered in. He says Maxwell gave his daughter a scolding for always taking risks, doing stupid, dangerous things, after she had a near-fatal accident after diving off a boat. She was quite clever at dealing with him, Greenslade explains, adding that she always spoke sweetly to her father in ways that he found difficult to challenge. After Ghislaine left, Greenslade says Maxwell turned to him with a sense of pride in his voice. She's like me.
As the daughter of a father, I should say that you learn little tricks when you're a young kid.
And they stay with you, don't they?
They do. They very much do.
Yes. So I should be clear here. Ghislaine has pretty much done nothing on her own of any note that involved business. Like, she never became her own tycoon.
No, she's just a socialite, like nobody.
But her dad set her up with some companies. After she graduated from Oxford, I mean, she was, well, there's two parts to this, basically. But she was a party girl, but also sort of in charge of basically fake companies.
Yes.
Our father set her up with a company called Maxwell Corporate Gifts, which I have been very hard-pressed to find information on. The most I can find is descriptions of it as a corporate gift. I assume it's like fruit bouquets.
Yeah, these are all shell companies for nothing.
Exactly. I'm
nothing
sure just
burgers. as
basically
they
a
say.
way to give her money probably at a lower tax rate.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about some more of her companies later. But she was a party girl after Oxford, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would be.
Yeah, you were. She was a huge fixture on the party scene, and she started the Kit Kat Club. Now, not the original Kit Kat Club, which I'm sure many of our members are very familiar with, but a new all-women's Kit Kat Club. I found their website, actually.
Did you really?
Well, their website technically still exists, but there's nothing on it. I found a Internet Archive copy of their website, and it was like a month-long activities calendar. Bunch of fucking boring assholes speaking.
It's basically like The Wing.
Yeah, no, it actually really is exactly like The Wing.
Yeah, it's just a social club for rich ladies.
For rich ladies, yeah.
Shout
By the way-
out to The Wing. You suck.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't call you back, babe. But yeah, her dad, though, was trying to set her up with a mate.
Oh, that's right. This is very funny.
Yes.
So I love this little detail.
I know, you do.
So Robert really wanted Ghislaine to marry, drumroll, John Kennedy.
John Kennedy? Well, what happened to him?
Well, but
And who broke that story? Larry Salona.
that's true. But I just think that's hilarious. One, because first of all, who wouldn't want to set up their daughter with?
I know, like, this
JFK
is a
Jr.?
notable fact.
I mean, like the most handsome man of the 90s. So, Robert, I get it.
Yeah.
Two, we have to talk about the QAnon connection here.
Yes. So the QAnoniacs, Liz's other podcast, which is she does under the name the Praying Medicess.
Oh my gosh.
The QAnon people think that John JFK Jr. is actually Q, right?
Yes.
So
Or it's either Trump or it's John.
yeah,
Kennedy
like could be
Jr.
one. Yeah. So in the universe next to ours, like, you know, in the vast panoply of universes,
Right.
where the universe next to ours, then this is like
The
John
Q-universe.
did survive or whatever. Ghislaine is his wife.
Yeah. Wild. Which,
Wild.
oh my God.
By the way, Ghislaine, like
That is so like upsetting to think about because Carolyn Bessette is like Angel. Angel who walks among just horrible demon spawn in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And the idea of Ghislaine pulling the beautiful
Impossible.
John into this terrible world of espionage. No, I can't keep a straight face when I talk about a Kennedy.
Well,
not being in a world of espionage and mob activity.
yes. Well, here's the thing, is that Ghislaine is an aggressive 3.
What do you mean?
Like, she's an aggressively a 3.
Oh, like 1 to 10?
Yeah, like hard.
You know, okay, so I
Uncompromising
definitely
3.
think that, except she looked good in like the late,
Drawing some breath in here.
in the like mid 90s.
I got to do the Wim Hof breathing
when
to get through this.
when she's got long hair in that photo
Yeah.
with Robert, with
You can
her
just see
hair
less
like
of her.
big.
Yeah.
She looks good. She's got a young face. She looks nice.
She grew old quick.
Well, she didn't have enough adrenochrome, apparently.
Yeah, I know. You gotta get that JP Morgan shit's gotta get unimpounded. Yeah, so she I will say though, for being like a party girl loser freak, she did learn how to do a lot. I mean, she became a helicopter pilot. She learned how to pilot.
Okay, wait. We need to
Yeah.
pause on this for a second.
Okay.
She's a helicopter pilot.
Yes.
And she knows how to pilot a submarine.
Yeah, the submarine part does give me a little pause.
The helicopter part doesn't?
No, because if you're in the Epstein Nexus and you're a woman, you are halfway to becoming an aviatrix already. I learned that word.
I
An
like that.
aviatrix. That is a female aviator.
It's very sexy.
It's insanely sexy. It brings to mind a woman with Russian accent and leathers.
I know, I like it.
So she's going to, the word on the street is that she, like, I've read this from several sources, that she learned how to become a helicopter pilot basically so that she didn't have to record who came to Epstein's island with her on the helicopter.
Oh.
Yeah. So Ghislaine, like all gals, is looking for love, right? And it's hard for somebody with such a face.
Well, and a patriarch looming
Yes.
over. He was very
Exactly.
protective.
Extremely protective.
Did not like any of the boys that she brought home.
No. And there was one in particular, though, that she really hung her shingle on, so to speak. His name, and I'm sorry, our Italiano friends, please forgive me. She dated one Count Gianfranco Sigona Mazzone.
Oh my God, Brace.
Count Gianfranco Sigona Mazzone. So he is actually
Ciccona?
not
It would
only
be Ciccona.
Ciccona?
Gianfranco Ciccona Mazzone.
Gianfranco Ciccona Mazzone.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's fine. I should look at his passport.
I'm not Italian.
From the Knights of Malta.
What?
Yes. So our friend the Count, a little about his background first. His grandfather was a man named Giuseppe Volpi de Miserati, who was the governor of a little place called North Africa. Now, why would an Italian be the governor of North Africa?
What do you mean, governor of North Africa?
Well, in the 1930s, there was a country called Italy back then, too, as well. Except it was ruled by a guy named Mussolini. Mussolini.
Ooh.
Yeah, Mussolini, of
Bit of a
course,
rough time.
was in charge of North Africa. Well, yeah, he owned North Africa. And
Right.
A little bit of an imperialist there. It certainly had his claws in Africa for as long as he could. Kind of got wiped out pretty quickly there.
Yeah.
And he placed Giuseppe Volpi di Maserati, who is also known as Italy's Henry Ford. His father was of the opinion that Italy should not just stop at invading Albania when they invaded little teeny Albania and kicked out King Zog and paved the way for our good friend Enver Hoxha in the future. So actually, maybe thank you. But in fact, marched towards Anatolia. And Anatolia, my good friends, means Turkey. He was the head of Italy's largest business group at the time, which was in 1938. So this guy is an inveterate imperialist, a close collaborator to the Mussolini government, and of course, an capitalist. His grandson, though, is sweet little Gianfranco Cigona Mazzone. He is a very different man. He is not part of any weird organization like the fascists. He's part of the Knights of Malta.
So can we pill our listeners a little bit on the Knights of Malta?
So we could pill our listeners for several hours on the Knights of Malta. So the Knights of Malta are a sovereign knight order of knights on the island of Malta. It is not, by the way, the Maltese government. It is like, think of it like the Vatican, except it doesn't have its own state.
Okay.
They're based off of Malta when the knights went there way back when. Now there are a lot of conspiracy theories, which of course we here never believe, involving them. But one thing is absolutely a fact: they have their own passports. And these passports aren't like decorative passports, like the passports you can buy for Sealand or anything like that. These passports work in 108 countries.
What?
Yes. That's pretty weird, right? Mm-hmm. That this just random group of people in the fucking post-Westphalian order have passports
Yeah,
that
I
they can
don't.
use, like they're citizens of a regular country, for a
Interesting.
country that literally doesn't exist. Not only do they have passports, but they have ambassadors. And the ambassador to Kenya for the Knights of Malta was one Count Shigona Mazon.
Really?
Indeed, he was.
Ghislaine's boyfriend.
Ghislaine's boyfriend.
For a long time now,
For
by
a
the
long
way.
time,
Long
yeah.
time boyfriend.
Long time boyfriend. Her like main love of her life before Jeffrey Epstein. Another little thing about him. This is after, to be fair, this is after he and Ghislaine broke up. But now, are you familiar with the proud country of Equatorial Guinea?
Not as much as I'd like to be.
So there was in 2004. It's a small country in Western Africa. It's next to Cameroon, I believe. It's not in the news much. It was owned by the Portuguese. There was a colonial movement there. The communists got wiped out, and sort of this like right-wing general has been basically ruling it ever since. Well, it was another coup, whatever. Anyways, it's run by a general, right? And in 2004, a man named Simon Mann, which I know that is a confusing sentence, a fella, let me just say. Actually, let me say this. A mercenary piece of shit named Simon Mann.
Great name, though.
And 64 other mercenaries. In fact, South African... Whoa, I even did in the accent.
You did!
South African mercenaries from notorious, and I mean notorious, South African apartheid era death squads.
Yeah.
Were caught in Zimbabwe with cargo planes, 740,000 rounds of ammunition, 20 machine guns, like 70 AK-47s, a bunch of grenades, RPGs, and they were headed to Equatorial Guinea. Now, it turns out that they were going to overthrow the government of Equatorial Guinea and put in an opposition figure who was, let's say, very friendly to certain businessmen. Now, this businessman kind of became revealed. So Simon Mann was arrested. All these guys were arrested. He was put in jail in Zimbabwe, and I think later, actually, in Equatorial Guinea, I think he became president with the president of, or excuse me, I think he became friends with the president of Equatorial Guinea because he received a presidential pardon there, and now is like back on the talks. He talks at Oxford. He's an Eton grad. Or Eton. How do you say it? Eton. He goes to Eton and talks. Of course, he's a graduate from there. But he was financed by famously one Mark Thatcher, the son of Margaret Thatcher. Who
For a second there, I thought
herself-
you were saying Margaret Thatcher wrong.
Yeah, Mark, who's this? Mark, the former male PM of England. No, Mark Thatcher, the son of the late and dearly, thank God, departed Margaret Thatcher, who herself is said to have given the
ahead.
okay to this, and in fact suggested that their next target be Venezuela. So it comes out that
Interesting.
Mark Thatcher was involved in this. This whole thing called the Wonga List appears. And guess whose name is connected as a financier of the coup? That would be Ghislaine Maxwell's ex-boyfriend, the Knight of Malta, Count Gianfranco Shigona Mazon.
Okay, so pull back for a second. You're telling me
Yeah.
that Ghislaine Maxwell, the prized favorite daughter of global / Israeli super spy Robert Maxwell,
Yep.
who died mysteriously when he fell into the drink.
Wait, where do you hear about how the Count died, by the way?
That his daughter, the great love of her young life, was the grandson of a Italian fascist leader who later then financed an attempted British coup orchestrated by Margaret Thatcher in Africa.
Well, Margaret Thatcher's son, but yeah, I'll give it. Yeah, yes, all those details are correct. Yes, yes, that is true.
So that's crazy, and also that's a big leap from wanting to date John Kennedy.
Yeah, well, actually, considering John's relatives, actually not that big of a leap.
They weren't related to Mussolini, at least.
Well, they was related to RFK, who is not exactly. I'm sorry, the woke RFK fucking revisionist history bullshit. Fuck you.
Okay, but that's not Mussolini.
Sirhan also possibly innocent. Probably innocent.
Probably too, yeah.
So guess how the Count died? Well, you know how Robert Maxwell perished by falling off his boat? Well, the Count perished in a very public, fiery crash at an air show.
Really?
In Africa. Oh, yeah. He was a big South African businessman as well. He lived in South Africa, had many businesses there, which any white guy that's fucking around in South Africa...
Don't trust him.
Do not trust... Especially one that has this close of links to the former intelligence service death squad members.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so he died in a plane crash.
Now, Detective Brace, Reporter Brace.
Yep.
Do you have any suspicion that perhaps some foul play was afoot?
So there is one famous historical parallel I can draw to the hero General Lin Biao, who could have saved China from Dengist revisionism, but perished in a mysterious plane crash when he was forced to flee for his life. I think possibly the same thing can happen, except this guy's bad.
Right.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
The things don't just happen in this world of these people.
No, little cosmic handshake, as you say.
So, yeah, that is, unfortunately, listeners, just the beginning of Dear Ghislaine's.
I know. We went long on all our rants in the beginning that we have actually so much more to talk about. So we're going to get into more of it on the Patreon episode for this week. But that's just a little taste of the life and insane, perhaps non-death of Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yes. So, thank you for joining us in this episode of everything you wanted to know about Ghislaine Maxwell was too afraid to ask a hard 3 about. And we shall see you. Hold on, Brace, stop! Don't finish that sentence! This is you from the future with a message that you forgot to record!
This is so stupid.
Liz, don't embarrass me like this in front of my past self. We are going... Guys, I am so excited. We are going to Zebulon. And you think I'm kidding because I'm from the future and that's what everything's called there, but it's true. Liz, what are we doing? People like your voice more than like mine. Tell the people.
So we're so excited to announce we have not one but 2 live shows coming up. January 25th and 26th in the belly of the beast, Los Angeles, California.
Yes.
Holly Weird, my former home.
Yep.
It'll be a real homecoming. We're so excited. 2 shows, Saturday, Sunday, 25th, 26th at Zebulon, which is in Silver Lake in California, in Los Angeles, California. And it's going to be TrueAnon Live, an investigation into the death of Jeffrey Epstein.
And let me be clear, this is not a live podcast where we're going to be 4 chums sitting on stools talking about anything. I don't know. I don't listen to podcasts. I only watch documentaries. But this is a live investigation with live ammo. Like we are, I shouldn't say that, but whatever. I can play off as a joke. We are doing something we're literally going to solve the case for you. And because we're going to LA, we have the red dot sighted on our enemies in Hollywood.
Yeah, we're
Liz,
gonna be.
we've got some scores to settle, right?
Yes, yes. We're gonna be coming for all you sickos and all your sicko bosses.
Uh-huh. I'm also going to have sex with Perez Hilton.
What year is it, Bryce?
Was that the woman, right?
Oh my
That's Paris Hilton. I'm going to have sex with Paris Hilton.
No, you can't take it back. You can't take it back. It's the
I'll
first
have
one.
sex with both of them. I don't care. I got to make it in the big city.
Okay, let's go back to the past or the future, whatever
Okay,
this bit is.
Oh, goodbye. I'm going. By the way, Boris Johnson won. Thank you for joining on this episode of everything you wanted to know about Ghislaine Maxwell, but we're too afraid to ask her because she's fucking ugly as shit and also a pedophile. This has been myself, the Count Giuseppe Volcini Pedophilia. Brace Belden, Brace Beldinski. I'm joined by Mistress,
I'm Liz.
and we are here once again. Well, I'm got the
You
accent's
got
getting a little weird.
French.
No, it wasn't French, but we'll just ignore that. Oh, we are here with my good friend Young Chomsky. No, I can't do that. We are here with our producer Young Chomsky.
Yeah, we're gonna keep going. So we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Ciao.
Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein.